Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Haunted Ride, a paranormal and spiritual podcast. My name is Melissa, and thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have your tea and your snacks. We are going to talk about some psychic occurrences today, sometimes where I've received messages, and it's kind of taken like a little bit for them to happen, but they do, and I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. So I'm super, super excited to share them with you guys. We're going to listen to a quick promo, and then we will get into the episode. Talk to you guys in a couple seconds.
This podcast is part of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. Go to bigheadsmedia.com for more great podcasts.
Or abducted by aliens and then they be alien. Alien face. Alien, an alien selfie. Be extraterrestrial. To me, that screams aliens. And it had an alien head on alien eyes. Be aliens. They're here, bitch.
Do you think the aliens heard about Brexit? Do you think that's going to affect where they do their crop circles?
I think so.
Scary Talk. Join Andre and Shannon for a conversation on all things paranormal every Monday. Find Scary Talk on all podcast listening platforms.
And we're back. I hope you guys enjoyed the promo. I really, really enjoy when the universe or my guides or whoever gives me the information, and I'm like, okay, cool, file that away in the back of my head, and then like, a month, a year later, it happens, and I'm like, holy shit, I remember that, I remember thinking about that, that's so cool. So the first occurrence that I want to share with you guys is something that happened in my new job. There was somebody who, she lost her keys, and she couldn't find them. Like, she couldn't find them at all. We don't have a super tall building, but we do have, like, a lot of cubicles. We have a lot of rooms. So they honestly could be anywhere. And she had looked all over. She'd retraced her steps. She could not find her keys. So I find out about this, and I say to my lovely guides, I said, hey, can you help me find the keys? And before I even really, like, fully say this, they keep pulling me towards the bathroom. Now, I don't know the person that well, except that I can already tell that she kind of feels like she's a know-it-all. So, because I know that, I want to help her, but in a more like, you can do it yourself sort of way. So I said to her, I said, hey, did you check the bathroom? And she goes, yeah, I checked the bathroom. I said, you checked the bathroom on this floor? She said, yeah. I said, okay. A little while goes by, come back. I said, did you find your keys yet? She said, no. I said, and so you checked everywhere, right? And she said, yeah. I said, and you checked the bathroom? She said, yep. Okay. Go away, come back. She still hasn't found her keys, and now she needs to go home. So now at this point, whether you are going to get... My thing was, I knew she was going to get pissed off at me if I found them for her. Even though she wanted someone to help her, she didn't really like... She wanted to do it herself, more so. I started even going towards the bathroom, and she's like, no, don't go in there, I already checked there. And everything in me is telling me her keys are in the bathroom. But I'm like, okay. And she was kind of nasty when she said it. And so I was just like, okay, fine, whatever. You'll figure out your own way to get home, I'm sure. And you'll find your keys in the bathroom. So, next day, we come in. And we get the news that she found her keys. She found her keys in one of the stalls of the same bathroom that I kept trying to go into and try and get her to go into, but she wouldn't go in there. So I was happy that she found them, but those are those moments where sometimes you just gotta listen to somebody. When they're telling you something, they're trying to help you, listen. At the same place, back when I had my dog Emma, I had brought her into work to see if that would kind of help her calm down. I brought her to work. She pretty much loved almost everybody. And then there was this one guy. Now, this guy, when I first met him, in my mind, he just had... It was like he was darker than he actually, was. Like almost like a physical darkness. Like, I saw it as, like, a physical thing around him. And I was like, that's weird. Why do I keep thinking that he looks that way? That's just odd. So I had met him, twice before. And Emma happens to be with me. And he comes in the lunchroom. And he's like, oh my god, doggy. And he runs to go hug her. And she runs away from him. And barks at him, actually. She starts barking and growling at him and scares the crap out of him. So I look at her and I realize, oh, she can see it too. And so I kind of put my arms around her and I said, honey, it's okay, calm down. I said, he is not bad. And I know the thing that's around him confuses you and makes you uncomfortable. But I also can see that she did want to go investigate him and kind of sniff him out. She was just uncomfortable with the thing that was around him. And I said, so it's okay, do it in your own time, but it's okay. And little by little, she finally went towards him, but she was like, don't you make any sudden movements? Don't you anything? And he even brought it up to me. He goes, is she kind of a little skittish? And I was like, yeah, with some people. I just left it alone. It was really great to, I never wanted her to be uncomfortable or for him to be uncomfortable, but it was also really interesting to see that I wasn't the only one who saw that thing around him. And finally I realized it was just some woman. It was a woman who, he just had a spirit attachment. And I'm not really sure why she was there or what, but I did notice, I've actually seen him quite a bit more lately, and I have been able to notice that the spirit attachment seems to be kind of wavering a bit, so that's really good. She doesn't have as much of a hold on him as she used to. Another thing that happened, and this one I've been dying to share with you guys for a really, really long time. There was this woman who she started talking to me at my job. She was really nice, and I kind of just looked at her one day, and I was like, she's pregnant with a boy. And I was like, why would I think that? And again, if you heard the episode, earlier, I did used to do this. Hey, why do you think these things? Why is this coming to you? And then I would realize, oh, this is a message. This is more along the lines of when I started realizing it a little faster. And I was like, oh, I wonder if she knows. So I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything to her at all. And then out of the blue, she just saw me one day and told me she was pregnant. And I was like, oh, congratulations. I asked her how far along she was, so on and so forth. We talked about a little. And then I asked her if she knew what she was having. And she said, no, not yet. I said, okay. Maybe 2 weeks ago, she happened to see me again. And she goes, we're having a boy. And I was like, guides, you are amazing. It blew my mind that I knew she was pregnant before. I mean, the other thing, too, is I'm not really sure why she told me. I'm not sure if, maybe something in her kind of knew that I knew, and then so she told me. I'm not really sure why. Because we're not really close. I'm not close with anybody at my job. So to kind of just, come out of nowhere and be like, hey, I'm pregnant, and then, come out of nowhere and, tell me, the sex of your baby was its own, really sort of special thing. But I was so happy when I found out that I was right. And that I did, it did actually, I found out about it, months in advance. Months in advance. Had no idea. I didn't even know this woman. And I love those moments. I love those, times where, there's no way you can defeat that. There's no way I can turn around and be like, yeah, she told me. She never told me. Because when she finally did tell me, I was so excited. I knew. I knew that was just, such a beautiful thing. And I'm so happy for her, and I know her baby boy is going to be super, super healthy and really loved. So I'm very, very happy for her. Now, in the department that I work more in technical support now. And so we do have people who call, and we have people who call, and we'll have to take down their phone numbers for random reasons. So sometimes, every so often, the game I like to play is, can I guess their phone number? I'll sit down and I'll say okay, what's this person's phone number? What are they going to say? And I'll get a range of numbers in my head and I'll kind of write those down. And then I'll ask the person what their number is. And lo and behold, it'll be right. The thing that I've also had to learn, though, is that I do seem to have some sort of precognition or premonition ability. While that ability comes into play a lot when it comes to me getting psychic information. So there's almost a delay. It's almost I get the information immediately and there's a delay with the physical world and when it works. Examples. So I might see a time in my mind where a certain thing is going to happen, and that time is 3 seconds or 3 something of a delay between what I saw and when it actually occurs here on this plane. I'm not really sure why that happens to me. The only thing I can think of is like I said earlier, the premonition, sort of precognition thing that I have. But I do notice there being a delay, either like, a couple minutes to a couple hours, a couple days between when I will get information and when it will actually occur. So that sometimes makes it a little hard. Other times I'm able to really pinpoint it down. I'm like, okay, I know that this is going to take a little bit to happen. It'll probably be around this period of time. So I can kind of know that with how my abilities tend to work, with it always being in threes, I can say, okay, if I feel like it's going to be in a couple months, it'll probably be in 3 months. Another little game that I like to play with myself lately is guessing the color of 18-wheelers before I come up to them. The cab color. So, like if you're driving behind an 18-wheeler, you can't see what color the cab is. So here are a couple times when that's happened, and it's fun for me. It's always fun. It's literally like a little game. So sometimes I'll be driving and I'll get like little visions or imagery in my head. And I had this image of a Target truck, and I was coming up to an 18-wheeler. I was like, I wonder if it's that one. And it wasn't. And I was like, damn, man. I saw it. I looked directly to my left, and there was an exit in the opposite way of traffic coming down the highway. And lo and behold, there's the Target truck. So then I said, okay, well, I think the next truck that I'm going to see, the cab will be red. And so I'm driving. The next 18-wheeler I see, the cab is completely red. So when we evacuated for the hurricane, I did the same thing recently when I was on my way home. We were driving, and I was like, I want to know the color of that truck specifically. Now, I could see the truck from my end, and I knew that the whole cab of the truck was white. But in my mind, I got the color green. And I was like, the cab is white. The truck is white. What is green? But okay, if you say it's green, I believe you. It's green. I come around the truck, and I realize that as I'm passing it, it has a green logo. Now, it's actually like not even like a big logo. First off, there's no way I could have seen it because I was catty corner and behind another 18-wheeler. There's no way I could have seen it. But the fact that like I knew it was a white truck, and I had to believe in myself when I heard green and said, okay, well, this is a green truck. That was super, super amazing for me to realize, oh my God, I was right. Like this was right. There you go, right there. Even though you thought, and I think that's also like part of the lesson too, is like, even though I thought like 110% sure that I was wrong, I wasn't. Universe said it was green. Look, right there. The only color on that car is a green logo. And I do this with plenty of other things too. There's a channel that I watch on YouTube called Jubilee. And every so often they have something called Odd Man Out, which is where you have, I think it's like 6 or 7 people, and you have to guess which one's lying. And if you get it, then you will win like $1,000. If they trick you all, then they win the $1,000. And so I was watching this one episode, and they were scanning through the people, and it got to the third person. I was like, that's the person. I didn't even hear them say anything. All I saw was their face, and I was like, that's the person. And long and behold, the people ended up winning, and it turns out that was the person. I was like, woohoo! So this actually happens to me a lot. And this is actually like part of why we, in episode 43, we talk so long about messages and understanding your abilities, and that there are constantly things that are coming in, and building that foundation. Every single time that I do this, I'm building that foundation for myself. I'm building myself this place of like confidence, like this pool and overflowing waterfall of confidence where I'm saying, okay, I know this is how my ability works, like this. I know when I see this, this is what it's saying. I know, like, I'm learning my ability and learning myself, really, and my higher self, and how all of that kind of comes into play. That's just a couple of the experiences I've had recently where I've just received information and gotten to find out that it was correct. And it's just really beautiful and really special when I can see that. And it just makes me have even more confidence and feel even more sure in what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, because all of this is like really hard, man. Like, it's really hard to like figure it out sometimes and understand it. When it hits you, though, like, it hits you, and it hits you hard. And that's part of the beauty of it, too. So I do want to share with you guys something that I learned this week. I realized why one of the energies that's been around me has been around me so much lately. And there was an occurrence that happened, and it made me cry. I just broke down crying, and I was like, this isn't worth my time. Like, my pain in this moment is. But this person, these things, like, they're not worth my time. And I realized that that entity was there to help me understand that there is power in my pain. There is a surety in my pain. I actually just read this thing, too, on Instagram, where somebody said something like, they get so many messages about how people are always saying, I want your help to help me, like, curse this person or hex this person or do this to this person, do this to the other person. It was from The Witching Hour 13. And the person's response was, well, have you ever just tried to physically block them out of your life? You realize that you can just cut the cord with them, right? You're the one who's letting them to come back in your life. What I had to realize was, in this moment of me being hurt and my pain, I had been separating myself from that person for a really long time. And it's never going to be something that's easy. It's never going to be something that, it's just going to be like a 1, 2, 3 process. Like, that's not how it's going to work. But I did realize that there were moments when I would let that person back in. I wouldn't mean to, but it's just sort of like one of those people that, like, you're supposed to love. And I realized that, like, I can love them all I want to, but they don't love me. Their way of love is not something that I accept for myself anymore. Like, it's just not. I had to realize that when you have pain, and you have deep pain, and you have deep hurt, and you get to this point where you go, you know what, I am sick and tired of being fucking disrespected by this person, and I'm done. Like, for me, like, there's so much power when I say I'm done with someone, like, I'm finished. I had to realize that, like, I can never control that person. I can never affect how they affect me. I can never change what they've done to me. Like, I can't do any of those things. Like, that's not for me to do. What I can do is control myself. And I have to understand that just because they have a good day and they've been good for a little while doesn't mean that they're not going to do this again. It doesn't mean they're not going to hurt me again. It doesn't mean that they're not going to look at me as just like a little toy that they can play with again. They are. And so every time that I sit there and go, oh, you know what, they're going to get better and everything's going to be fine and I'm not going to have to worry about it, I'm just letting myself get hurt all over again. For what? Why? I deserve so much more than that. And I've got to have more respect for myself than that. So no, like, fuck this person. And I'm going to own that power in my pain. And let me tell you something. It has been amazing. Like, now, when I say this, it's only been, like, a week. But it is so freeing just to understand that. It doesn't matter if, like, I fall back in those same habits, just even for a second to, turn around and get smacked in the face. But it's been so freeing to just be like, you have your own 2 feet. You can stand on your own. You can tell this person no. You can say I'm done. You can have a relationship without contributing to that relationship because they damn sure don't. And just understand that you need to find your solid ground, your solid footing. And it's beautiful that you love this person. It's beautiful that you care. It really is. But you need to love yourself more right now. You need to be able to own and understand and comprehend how this person truly makes you feel. And ask yourself, do you really want to keep that going or not? Just like I said earlier, do you really want to waste your time on things that shouldn't be important to you? And that includes people sometimes. It really does. So just know that when someone hurts you, I never want anyone to be hurt. I don't like confrontation. I'd rather people don't be hurt. But there is power in pain, and there is power in anger, and there is power in sadness and crying and comprehension that someone or something hurts you. And you are the only one who has the ability to turn around and say, you know what? I'm not going to let you do that anymore. So if you need to find yourself in that place, find yourself in that place and own that place, and that's okay. So with that, take care and stay safe. Love yourselves and love others. Have a good day. Have a beautiful night. And as we always like to say, don't let the ghost get you. Bye.